Okay, I'm going to make a pretty bold statement. This could be one of the most important videos you watch this week. I know, but also possibly so true. If you are a small business owner of... One of my project bags is sick of being on the wall. Somebody hurry up and buy it so it can be used. As I was saying, if you have a small business, I have some questions for you. Do you know how much money you spent on your business last month? Don't cheat. Do you know how much revenue you made? And this one's the big one. Do you know how much profit you made? Now you have a chance to redeem yourself if the answer was no to any of those, or God forbid, all of them. Do you have something that you could refer to, some sort of report or a spreadsheet or anything that you could use to tell me those numbers if you had to tell me them right now? Because if the answer to that is also no, get yourself comfortable, please. Yeah, I've got my mum face on today. And the questions that I just asked you, I've asked them of other people before, and I was going to say it shocked me how many people didn't know the answer to them. But again, it didn't shock me, because I think if we're all being brutally honest, it's the majority of us. I do know my figures. I know, I'm such a goody two-shoes, but I did used to work in accountancy, so the whole bookkeeping thing is kind of ingrained into my head, and you cannot run a business for any length of time without knowing your numbers, because whether you mean to or not, you could accidentally run it into the ground. Mum face, this is important. And you might think, well, I don't really want to know how much I've spent on my business compared to how much is coming in. It's too depressing. I know, love. I'm in the middle of my quietest time of the year, and I know how this works because I've been here year after year after year. And even though I know this, whenever I look at the figures at this time of year, it does make me go, oh. So yes, I do get you. But for now, I'm going to talk about each of the figures that you need to be aware of. And I'll give you a few tips and explain to you how I do things myself. And also, before any of you are thinking, la 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 la, this feels too hard, it's easy. Now, I should point out, I am not talking about doing taxes. I am talking about bookkeeping, which is keeping records, which you should be doing every month. I do know of at least one accountant friend who suggests you do this every day. He's a bigger nerd than I am, though, so don't worry about that. Bookkeeping every day, come on. Some of us have a life. But seriously, if like me, you have to submit your taxes once a year, speaking from personal experience, don't leave all of your bookkeeping until then to do for the year. It will break your brain. Do it once a month. And if you enjoy it and you're a big nerd like my friend, you can do it more often. And you don't even need to be an Excel whiz. You can actually get onto a place like Etsy and search for profit and loss graph. Why is this so difficult? Profit and loss graphs. So yeah, that's what I did. I went onto Etsy and I was looking for a digital download that I could buy that would allow me to record my profit and loss by month and a yearly overview. And specifically because this is what I wanted to do, I wanted something that would allow me to also input a profit goal by month. Okay, so we're assuming that you've got a method of recording your figures, an Excel spreadsheet, template, whatever. Now we can break down the three figures that you need to know the most. Let's start with revenue. Obviously, this will be anything that you make that comes into your account. Sales that you make on Etsy or on any other platform like eBay, for example. Sales that you make on your website, on social media. So for me, that looks like Shopify income, Etsy income when that happens, and Google, which is my YouTube income as well, which is also made up of a mixture of ad revenue and memberships. Now then, there's my outgoings, and you can split this up into categories. So as I mentioned earlier, I have website subscriptions, and whenever I spend money on Canva, which is what I use to make my YouTube thumbnails, or Filmora, which is the software that I use to edit my videos, anything like that, that gets recorded as an expense, and that will then have an impact on the profit that I've made that month. So basically you've got your income minus your expenses, and then the difference is your profit for the month, which is the third and final figure that you need to know, your profit. Okay, so let's assume that for the latest tax year that you are in, at the time that you are watching this video, you have been doing your bookkeeping, and month by month you know exactly how much you spent on your business, how much you made in your business, and the profit for that month. Now, I would point out, if you have just recently started your business, don't worry too much if the expense part of your bookkeeping looks bigger than your income. That is normal. It does tend to cost more at the beginning, and you may not make a profit for a little while. What you want to see over time is that your income is increasing, and your expenses, they shouldn't be increasing. Yes, there might be a big influx at the beginning, especially if you need to get supplies in, for example. But over time, it should plateau. Ideally, you would have a regular amount going out month by month. My monthly outgoings don't usually fluctuate too much unless I'm buying a lot of supplies or materials or something like that. And this is why getting some form of report going is so important, because this is where it starts telling you more than just how much you've made and how much you've spent. You can start to see if your business is actually growing, because sometimes we can get so stuck in the weeds that we forget what growth looks like. I'm going to assume that most of you watching this will have started a business because you want to make money, either as a side income to help boost your already existing income, or because you want to grow it to the point where someday you'll be able to do it full time and quit your job. If that is the case, you are going to want to see consistent growth. This is why I specifically wanted a template that would allow me to set profit goals, because I'm going to let you in behind the curtain. I haven't actually hit my profit goal once this year. I came very close at the beginning, and then my mortgage increased. Let's not go there. We all know the world is on fire at the moment. We'll move on. So my profit goal is always higher than I need it to be. So I've got my baseline figure here, and I've got, I don't know what you would call it, sort of like a middle goal in my mind, not official, just in my mind. And then I've got my stretch. And currently my profit goal is set at the stretch amount, which is probably why I've not met it. I mean, let's be honest, here in the UK at least, we're in a recession in all but name. So it's hardly surprising I'm not hitting my profit goal. But I am hitting the baseline goals. So I consider myself very fortunate that we are at least able to pay for this beautiful house that I have, even if the nails in the wall aren't holding up my project bags. If this is not something that you are on top of at the moment, or even taking seriously, mum face on, please do yourself a favour and start. The sooner the better. Not only will this help you tell at a glance if your business is going in the right direction or not, it will also help you see where you might be overspending. Not only that, but if you are recording your sources of income, you can tell at a glance which sources are giving you the most income. And that sometimes is helpful to compare against where you're spending your most time. Because if most of your income is coming from one thing and you're spending most of your time on another, you can course correct. You see what I mean? These profit and loss reports are so important and tell you so much more than just what's going in and out. By the time it does come for you to do your taxes, whenever that may be, if you're doing this month by month, it's so much easier and so much quicker. And I promise you, future you will be so grateful to past you. If you only do one other thing, go onto Etsy, have a look at those graphs, see what you would like, because even if you don't have any bookkeeping experience whatsoever, if you buy a template, all you've got to do is put in your numbers. That's it. Now, when I asked you if you knew what your revenue figure was for the past month, if any of you laughed jadedly and was like, yeah, nothing, give this video a watch, because I made it for you. And it just might be the second most important video you watch this week. Well, I mean, there's only one way to find out.